Everybody. Thanks for listening. I'm Jenny. I'm a life coach. And today I'm talking about happiness, the pursuit of happiness for INFJs and Empaths. 40% of your happiness is controlled by your thoughts. The rest is controlled by your environment and genetics. The most you have control over, the biggest chunk of this pie, is your thoughts. Okay, so that means you have a good amount of control over your happiness. You also have a fair amount of control over your environment. So that's the good news. So, um, so you're not lonely. You're just pretty happy, okay? Because you have a lot of control over this emotion. So I want you to picture in front of you an endless array of timelines, okay? And the decisions that you make switch you from one timeline to another. Every decision you make has a butterfly effect that causes the timelines to morph and change as you follow them through life. Happiness is being on the timeline, your ultimate timeline, the one that best honors your reality, your desires, your values, and who you are. We lose our grip on that ultimate timeline when we hide who we are, when we play it safe, when we stop listening to our inner wisdom. And finding our way back to our ultimate timeline takes emotional risk. It means taking the first step, not knowing where your foot will land, and trust falling back into your intuition without having all the answers. It means honoring when you feel a no and when you feel a full fuck yes, even though it's scary or might not make logical sense. So, a lot of empaths are scared of feeling happy. A lot of empaths have a fear of being happy. There's a fear that it's going to be taken away. Sometimes this comes from a parent who yucked your yum, who had something negative to say every time you try to share good news. Um, I want you to consider that it's possible that the worst challenge of your life is already behind you. You might have already gone through the worst part of your life. And there's going to be bad things that happen, okay? But you might as well just enjoy your time because those things are going to come whether you're enjoying yourself in the meantime or not. If you're trying to anticipate future problems that you cannot control, you are robbing yourself of present joy. So, chasing a positive experience is usually a negative experience when you're trying to strive for things, when you're working too hard for things. Accepting reality, even if it's negative, is usually a positive experience. Okay, so chasing a positive experience is also often a negative experience, at least positive experiences that you don't have control over or that you're working too hard for or that are out of reach. Accepting reality, even if it's negative, is usually a positive experience. Fake joy is built on the foundation of avoidance. We all know these people who avoid reality, avoid problems. Okay, they're just partying, okay, or traveling, okay, to avoid reality. That is fake joy, and it's built on the foundation of avoidance. Okay, in life, you don't get to have dessert until you eat your dinner first. That's just how it works. So um, happiness is often mistaken for adrenaline. It is not adrenaline. People from the happiest countries, like Sweden, I think is one, are often surprised to hear they're the happiest country. And they're surprised because it's not an excited kind of happy. It's not adrenaline based. It's a calm kind of happy. Okay. True happiness feels like calmness, and safety. Um, Happiness ingredients, okay, these are qualities of the happiest people, are they use their strengths, especially in their job. They practice savoring things, they practice gratitude, they practice kindness, they have social connections, fulfilling social connections, okay, not just surface level. They get enough exercise, enough sleep, they meditate. um, they focus on experiences over physical belongings. They have a growth mindset. Their motivations are intrinsic over extrinsic. They're internally motivating instead of externally motivating. Um, They're good at visualization. They have an environment that supports their goals, right? So, like if they're trying to eat healthy, they're not in an environment that's full of junk food. They're surrounded by color, by sunlight, by nature. They allow themselves to play, to be creative. Physical touch is an important ingredient. Music, eating healthy food, celebrating your successes, prioritizing time over money, or spending money on others or on things that don't last. You appreciate things more when they don't last. So, consumable things like a great bottle of wine, for example. Okay. Um, Active leisure creates more happiness than passive leisure. Active leisure would be like playing a sport, passive leisure would be like watching TV. Um, 30 minutes of exercise 3 days per week is more effective than antidepressants. So even a little bit of exercise goes a long way as far as happiness. And meeting your spiritual needs, your needs of your mind, your body, and your soul. Okay, so keeping your brain stimulated, continuing to learn, taking care of your body, and having loving connections with people. Spiritual needs are to belonging to something greater than ourselves, finding community, people who resonate us, knowing that we are valued. Being able to express ourselves authentically, the ability to fully express ourselves, express our truths, not feeling like we have to self-censor ourselves, mask who we are, or mask what we think or feel. Having purpose. We need to feel as if we're doing something that contributes to the greater good of our families, our friends, and our communities. Having freedom, having free will, and ability to choose for ourselves, having overall confidence, self trust, and autonomy. Having meaning, okay. Meaning makes sense of suffering, meaning to make sense of suffering, to love and to be loved, to love ourselves, to love others, to be loved by others, mutual giving, sharing, and accepting. And being whole and integrated, okay. Doing your shadow work, making friends with your demons, living in balance with your head, your heart, and your gut. Okay, listening to all of those pieces of yourself. Um, Also, being able to regulate your nervous system. A healthy version of flight mode would be to have strong boundaries to fight for what matters. Um, Healthy version of fight mode is to have strong boundaries to fight for what matters, being dominant and aggressive when you have to be. Healthy flight mode looks like leaving toxic people, leaving toxic jobs, leaving toxic environments. Healthy fawn mode is prioritizing the people that you care about, honoring their feelings, apologizing when you're wrong. And healthy freeze mode is resting when you're tired. So, for your homework, I want you to think about a time in your life when you were the happiest and describe that time. Think about what made that time the happiest. Look for patterns there. That's everything I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. If you want more information, there's links in the description. Bye.